That's it.
And has delivered lectures at the world's leading universities. Maybe you've seen his vlogs, very informative commentaries.
I'll sit here now. Okay, thank you.
Po sa ating politika. He's a columnist at Philippine Daily Inquirer, TV host at One News and TV5 Network, and has written for the world's leading publications. No? So let's give a warm of applause to Richard Hidayat.
Salamat, thank you, salamat. Good to see you, amigo. Good to see you, good, yeah. Actually, I suggested to combine na lang kaysa hiwalay, yeah. Thank you. Doon ka na lang, bro? Yes, sure. Yeah, it's not a lecture. I just canceled the whole lecture thing. Akala yata nila, Piolo Pascual at saka. I hope we didn't disappoint you.
Very huge yung mga topics natin. And basically, nationalism, so, first of all, I will give the floor to each of our guests. I will go the first question to Director Dr. So, sir, I'm privileged to meet you once again at this mall. Actually, I've been thinking na ulit ko kayo sa iba mga pelikula ninyo, but I consider myself as one of the members of our former chairperson of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, Professor Maris Bocno. Hindi nyo alam, ang sir, indirect, si Ma'am Maris. So, sir, when you created Gomburza, anong simula nito? How did you came about with doing this bill? Considering na, of course, there's General Luna, there's attempts to do historical fiction or historical film and documentaries, and paano nyo nakapak na gusto ng mga tao pala history, kasaysayan as cinematic content?
Well, first and foremost, magandang hapon po sa lahat. Thank you so much for having me. And I hope you're all enjoying your long weekend, or very, very long weekend. Thank you, MCC. Thank you, Christine. Kung pulsa po ay nagsimula bilang brainchild ng GESCOM, GESCOM Communications sa Chile. Naisip po sila na gusto nilang gumawa ng isang pelikula para sa 400 years of the church in the Philippines, which was supposed to be celebrated in 2021. So, nagsimula po kami ng 2020, and then we were supposed to shoot. Unfortunately, nagkaroon ng pandemic, so pause muna yung production. After lumipas sa 2021, sinabi nila, no, we still want to produce this film kahit na lumipas sa yung 400 years. Dahil sa palagay nila, I agree, importante ang kwento na Gomburza, not just because of the religious context, but also because of the social-political and historical context. So, nung nag-ease na po yung mga restrictions, tinuloy po na yung pelikula. We shot it last year, and last year na rin po siya yung premiere. I think, honestly, kung nilapitan po ako ng GESCOM para sa Gomburza, sinabi, for 400 years of the church in the Philippines, honestly, I'm not a very religious person.
Walang laglagan.
I know from history, high school, sinabi, the Philippines was colonized because of cross and sword. Ginamit nila ang religion para sakupin ang ating bansa, ang ating mga isla. So I had to ask myself, is this the film that I want to make or to celebrate? Pero ito yung na-realize ko sa kwento ng Gomburza. Yes, ginamit po ang religion, Christianismo, para sa buhay ng mga isla ng Pilipinas. But at the same time, it's within this church structure na nagkaroon ng panimula or nagsimula yung, I would say, national identity natin.
Right.
Ito sa secularization movement that took place in the 1860s, maybe, I think, even before that, but around the time of Gomburza, it was the Philippines-born priests who started asking, teka, bakit iba ang tato sa amin? Kahit dito lang kami pinangalan. Bakit hindi pantay ang mga question na nagsimula yung the national consciousness that became the revolution that became the country that we have now. So napakalaki po ng secularization movement ng Philippine Board priests sa ating bansa, sa ating kasaysayan. I'm very grateful that we were able to make this tribute to Bobozo, who was a representation of all of that movement.
Thank you very much. Actually, when I was watching during the premiere, there are very few films that I've watched na kasaysayan content that moved me to tears. And when I was watching talaga, I couldn't stop thinking of the present context that we have, no? Considering our challenges pagdating sa atin, no? Sa ating kabuhayan, sa pang-araw-araw. And somehow the film was very successful in moving this history, this part of our history, 1800s and 1872, closer to our present time. And siguro, babato ko na rin kay Sir Richard Haydar, no? Kasi the potency of films such as Bobozo, yung kanyang potency pagdating sa pagtuso ng mga manonood natin. It's more of there's kasi parang there's this assumption that the people, no, have a certain type of film na ito lang yung somehow kaya nila.
Right.
But then you're presented with a film such as, so full of complexity and full of depth. And magugulat tayo na kinukonsumo siya, no, ng mga Pilipino. And I think part of that is sort of like not only the historical but also the political aspect to it. Ano po masasabi niyo dun sa reception ng mga ganitong films about political content?
Yeah. Una-una, maraming salamat for this very kind invitation at tuwan-tuwa ako na marami tayong mga kasama dito na very much involved dito sa raising consciousness on West Philippine Sea issue, dito sa ating bayan, ating kasaysayan. Speaking of moving, inis na inis ako sa'yo, napaiyak mo ako dun sa movie mo. No? That was sobrang moving talaga yung movie na yan. Parang, kanina nung piniplay yung snapshots, parang bumalik na naman yung emotions. In fact, the first time na narinig ko ukol sa pelikulang yan, I was actually walking down the streets of Madrid. No, kasama natin, kaibigan ko si Paterno, na descendant of the Paternos. And we were talking about itong connection natin sa Europa, yung traumatic experience natin. And actually, nangyari yun just few days after, meron kaming event sa Instituto Cervantes kung saan nilagay yung mga libro ni Dr. Jose Rizal sa canon ng Spanish literature. So talagang taas balahibo, no? At naalala ko may mga namit ako mga Pilipino. Ito yung mga followers natin sa podcast natin na parang OFW sila sa Middle East. And then medyo, umangat naman. Ngayon, nag-aaral sila ng Espanyol sa Salamanca para mabasa nila si Jose Rizal doon sa original na language. I mean, it's just wow, di ba? Yun yung love and passion. Of course, masakit din yan kasi hindi natin mabasa yung original itong mga to. But yung effort nila Piolo Pascual, si Enchong, yung Espanyol na, I was like, muy bien, right? I was very impressed. Sobrang impressed na ako. So, doon mo na makikita na sobrang ang ganda nung yung formation ng national identity natin kasi ang dami mong mapuntahan di ba? Para tayong tayong bridging society tayo Parang there's Europe, there's US, there's Asia, there's Island Pacific. So doon maging mas proud ka sa pagiging Pilipino So that's why I really appreciated that movie kasi pinakita niya yung pagka-cosmopolitan and diverse. But most importantly, yung mga sakripisyo talaga ng ating founding fathers and mothers. I'm sure may mga susunod pa na pelikula yan because that's just the beginning, the Gongorza, no? In many ways, I look forward dun sa mga susunod na darating. Just a short note dun sa ginagawa ko. Napansin nyo, medyo vlogger mode na ako. Meron ako dyan. Bakit ko ginagawa yan? The last time naalala ko the first time I heard about, actually maka-age kami, no? The first time I heard about him, nung UP kami pala, nakita ko yung nanalo siya ng award. Was it the Locarno or was it the Venice one? Yeah. And so, wow, galing ito. And nung time na yan, sisimula pa lang ako and I started as a lonely staff sa Congress, lecturer na junior sa Ateneo. Nung time na yan, halos walang awareness doon sa issue ng West Philippine Sea. In fact, there was no West Philippine Sea. In fact, nung nasa Kongreso kami, we pushed for a resolution in 2011 na pangalanan yung ating exclusive economic zone sa loob ng South China Sea into the West Philippine Sea. 10, 12 years forward, nasaan tayo ngayon? Pwede na tayo makidebate sa mga kaibigan natin na taxi drivers, kahit saan-saan. I mean, hindi naman siya gut issue pa, pero almost household issue na siya. At nakikita namin yan sa analytics, sa social media, ang laki ng engagement whenever may malaking event na nangyayari sa West Philippine Sea. Kasi visceral sa atin yan eh. Dignidad natin yan eh. Diba? Dignidad natin bilang bansa. So, just to segue to the rest of the conversation, ang sinabi ni Pepe kanina is, dun sa pelikula niya, pinakita niya yung beginning of the formation of the Philippine identity or emergence ng Philippine nationalism. Para sa akin, ito yung second chance natin na magkaroon ng mas solid pa ng national identity. Kasi yung trahedya na nangyari is pagkatapos ng mga Espanyol, dumating naman mga Amerikano, nanggulo na naman sila. Pero ngayon, dahil sa nakikita natin challenge dyan sa West Philippine Sea, I think nagbumold lalo yung identity natin sa pagiging Pilipino. So, I think these are really historic and special times also.
Can I just circle back to the question I think you asked kung in-expect pa namin na pagkakilig ka ng Pilipino. And honestly, pati kami na shock at the surprise. Ang mga historical films ko kasi kadalasan hindi masyadong kumikita. May mga films na talagang tumatapak at kumikita. Jose Rizal, Leonardo Diaz-Balart, Henry Luna, Gerald Taro. Pero marami kasi hindi pinatapunin. And there's actually too many to mention. So, kung pinalabas yung two words, natakot talaga kami. Pagkatakot kami na walang pupunta. At walang And actually, nung day 1 ng MLFF, yung first week ng MLFF, isa po kami sa may pinaka-copy ng mga sinihan. Yung mga ibang mga pelikula na 100 plus kami na nasa 35 na. But it's because of the viewers. Kaya po, so sa lahat ng mga nanonood ng buong process sa sinihan at Netflix, maraming salamat po. Kasi po yung nanonood at ang mga viewers po yung nag-text, tumawag sa mga sinihan at nagsabi, palabas yung pelikula. Wala po kayo, hindi talaga, I think, hindi talaga makakaabot ng pelikula na yung audience. So, kasama ko ako dati. I was thinking ako bakit nahanap yung audience. And I think it's because it was for us important na hindi lang sa historical textbook pelikula, but at the same time, we're telling a story na emotional. So, napaka proseso po yung ginawa po namin para lumabas yung emosyon sa kwento ng pagkakala.
Actually, the reason why I asked that, kasi, syempre, yung mga historians natin dito na po sila nakaupo, no? And pati yung ating mga kaibigan sa exhibitors natin, no? Whenever we speak of history, kami mga history.
Right.
We pick up our sources, we choose our topics, and then saka namin nalatagan ng framework, saka kami mag-research. And hoping na itong napili namin, actually kami na topic, ay talagang matatapilikin, mabasa, no? And it's so fascinating, no? Kasi in our study of history, maraming mga segments at kasaysayan that people are with because of stories. Stories that resonate deep within the heart. Dahil nakikita ng manood o ng mamukasa na, teka, ako ito na kinakwento niya. And suddenly, when our character rises up and sacrifices, so supreme sacrifice, suddenly we are all affected. Suddenly, nung pinalabas yung sir, mga 2023 became 1872 all over again. And I think it's also the same with the West Philippine Sea, sir. Kasi for the longest time since this was raised up in 2013, yung issue natin sa West Philippine Sea. Pag kinakausap natin ng mga tao sa kalsada, talagang nakakain ba yun? West Philippine Sea. But all of a sudden, nagkaroon siya ng character dahil una sa lahat nakikita natin ng mga artista natin na pinipigilan sila ng mga intruders sa ating karagatan, na mga istat sa kanilang tradition of fishing grounds. And all of us sa atin, nakakarelate yung mga Pilipino na, teka, mahimas lang namin yan, pakakalit yung tao yan, parang ako yan. And I think one of the reasons why history and our fields sa pelikula and sa political science is why it's relevant is because we tell stories that will affect the lives of people because nakikita nila yung sarili nila doon. And ito yung, I think, personally, panglaban natin sa mga pinipilit na, sakyan ang mga ganitong kwento para sa kanilang mga propaganda.
Right.
Siguro, I would just like to squeeze your brains about it, no? In your respective fields, how do you make your work relevant? Kasi I'm guessing that the work is not just the last thing that you will do. And perhaps, sir, marami pa kayong ipoproduce ng mga libro, especially on the West Philippines. But even the challenge of the changing political climate, how do you make your work relevant? Paano nahihinig yung mga tao?
Yeah, and actually, related din yun sa sinasabi kanina ni Pepe. Pagdating sa mga usaping kilusan or usapin yung mga adhikain, mahalaga na may mukha yan eh. You have to put a face on a movement or an idea para relatable sa tao yan. At lalong-lalo na kung itong mukha o itong tao ay emotionally relatable. At yung mga hugot, di ba? Yung mga hugot, kitang-kita mo yung mga hugot lines. Again, I'm not being favorite, walang favoritism, pero yung character ni Enchong, kasi relatively younger, pag millennial ka or Gen Z, makaka-relate ka, parang hindi ko pa na-enjoy yung buhay ko, biglang ganyan nangyari. So, biglang yung mga two-dimensional na nababasa mo sa mga libro, na minsan boring pa yung pagkasulat, no offense to all of us academics, biglang naging three-dimensional. Yung nakikita mo na parang, wow, santo, untouchable, biglang complex character pala, relatable pala, di ba? And pansin mo, even sa Disney movies and all, hindi na uso yung binary, good and evil. Yung 50 Shades of Characters na, di ba? So, I think ganun din ang nangyari ngayon sa historically relevant cultural works. Nakikita natin yung complexity ng characters. Ako, mas napapamahal ako kay Rizal or General Luna, among others. Nakita ko yung imperfections sila. Yung pala, of course, lodi sila, pero tao rin sila. So kung kaya nilang gawin yan, 10 out of 10, siguro naman kaya ko yung 6 out of 10. So actually, lalo ka ma-inspire. So para ko sinasabi sa mga historiador, sa mga kaibigan natin, huwag mong gawin santo. Kahapon lang kausap namin si Bam Aquino, ukol kay Ninoy. And actually, dun sa 1-hour conversation namin, siguro 40 minutes dyan, ano yung mga complexity ni Ninoy? Yung mas bata siya, sabi niyo ba, medyo trapo, medyo politiko, di ba? Bago siya nagkaroon ng art of redemption, doon biglang relatable na siya, di ba? So kung kaya ni Ninoy to go from a consummate politician to this kind of iconic figure, and then ngayon, binabastos siya dahil sa political reasons, and then ngayon, lumalaban yung iba para sa kanya, suddenly, it's a moving, emotional thing, di ba? So mas may dating siya. So para sa akin, in my own weird, ridiculous way, sinisigurado ko parati pag pinag-usapan yung politika and all, syempre minsan nakakalungkot, nakakainis, nakakairita, di ba? May urge ka eh, di ba? Yung urge mo talaga, hindi mo makontrol yung urge mo, di ba? So, minsan dadaanan mo yan sa humor. Kaya nga, yung pinaka-lodi ko si Socrates eh. Sabi ni Socrates, you have to seduce people into truth. Seduction through humor. Seduction through bardagulan. But at the end of the day, ang gusto mangyari is interaction, human interaction. At as ma-realize ng tao on their own. So critical thinking through some humor, some entertainment, some emotional connection, yun po yung packaging natin. Obviously, hindi ako kasing level ni Pepe when it comes to the craftsmanship. But to the best of my ability as a scholar, at least sinisigurado ko the ideas are there, yung frameworks nandun. And I think yung interface, that's what I really look forward to. Remember, the Ilustrados, Rizal didn't fall off from the coconut tree, right? He didn't become unburdened by what has been na ganyan lang, di ba? Kasama niya yung mga ibang magagaling. So may ecosystem po yan eh. And they were feeding off on each other. Hindi naman ako nag-feeling, pero na-inspire ako kay Pepe. Na-inspire ako dun sa mga kaibigan natin sa iba't ibang larangan ng industriya, whether showbiz, cultural, and then we feed off on each other. Kasi complementary naman yung work natin. So yun yung perspective ko dito.
On my end, of course, as to maraming para gumawa ng ipapaw mga historical events. And honestly, I always said that hesitant ako na gumawa pa ng historical for the moment. Kasi ayoko ma-box sa future version. But there were a lot of really good stories that came in, and I had to sift between which one of them I like as a story and which one of them are propaganda. And there's a lot of them. So I have to define for myself what is propaganda. For me, propaganda is a story or a message that exists in order to prop up a specific person or a specific movement or party. Maraming mga kwento ang pumasok na ganyan, and I said no to all of them. Yung naging papel ko is, kung pinilitan ko ang lahat ng mga pangalan, kung pinilitan ko ang lahat ng mga location, will it still be an interesting story to me? And the answer to that question was yes, for the Bursa. Kasi it didn't have to be called Gomez, Burgos, Zamora. If I change their names, I would still be interested in the story as three priests who were wrongfully accused of a crime. Three priests who gave their life, and because of that, because of their sacrifice, ignited an entire movement. So without the names, without any religious order, it was still a very interesting story to me. But honestly, there were so many scripts that came in the last few months na kung pinalitan ko yung pangalan, hindi na tayo yung that's where I
Baka naman.
There are some historical scripts that I'm working on now. A few. Merong maganda. Hindi ko pa yung sabihin.
Wala bang marites na?
Pero merong maganda historical fiction na napanood ko yung Shogun na series. So Shogun is based on a real life historical figure in Japan. But in the book and in the TV series, pinilitan nila yung pangalan, fictionalize nila yung book.
Yeah.
So I'm working on one.
Interesting.
Parang based on historical figures.
Pero yun, ilaruin mo ng konti, yeah.
And then, sir, you already told me this game.
Galing.
Ang next film ko na is not historical. Technically, I don't know if it's alam niyo po ba yung pelikulang Bumala ni Ron 1982? Yung pelikulang Bumala ay i-adapt po namin. We are making it a musical for this year's NMFF. So that's my next film that we're working on. So ang historical siya in a sense that it's still set in 1982. It deals with, kasi the original film po ni Atigay with Michelle Bernal, written by National Artist DVD, was about politics, it was about religion, it was about society. So that's, the musical is still about all of that. Third, for you, it's historical.
Ang ganda yung yung learning a lot, kasi ang ganda ng perspective that how to detect propaganda is when you replace all the names with other names, pero ganun pa rin ang kwento. And somehow, our fields, even in history, teaches our people din talaga how to sift through lies, sift through historical distortion, and make them more critical of what's happening to them. And ang sagot talaga ay humanities. Ang sagot ay pelikula, ang sagot ay libro, ang sagot ay kasaysayan. Kasi ito yung mga lived experiences ng mga mamamayan natin. And when we detach ourselves from those realities, we become ineffective communicators. And I think that's one of the challenges that we have. Kaya itong HistoX, we're bringing history here in this mall. Sobrang mind-blowing kasi ang kasaysayan pwedeng ilatag sa mall. Kung kaya mo bumulsa, bakit hindi kaya ng HistoX, di ba? So, it's one of the reasons why we're here, and we meet, the people where they are, Kasi, naniniwala tayo that we have a message to bring. And this is a message for all Filipinos na hindi tayo nakakontento sa kung nasaan lang tayo. Feels like yung Bursa, the lessons of history, teaches us talaga to go beyond our present predicament and to really, reach for the heights, no? And despite that, makilala natin na even with our own imperfections as we see in our heroes, yun din talaga yung lalo nakaka-inspire sa mga pinatuloy.
Yeah, just two things, no? Una-una dun sa Gumburza, ang na-appreciate ko dito is, for instance, si Padre Borgus, no? Espanyol yung dati niya, meron siyang Ilocano blood. So doon mo makikita na itong diskurso ng nationalismo ay hindi dapat racialized. Hindi totoo na ang Pinoy ay Moreno lang. Ang Pinoy ay pwede Chinoy, ang Pinoy ay pwede Mestizo, ang Pinoy ay pwede Criole. So I think healthy yan because in the context of West Philippine Sea, medyo nakakabahala yung ibang tao, nire-rationalize nila yung West Philippine Sea. Kaya parati ko sinasabi, huwag niyo kalimutan si Rizal ay may pagka-Chinoy. So, hindi ko nagugustuhan yung mga narinig ko ng iba na, yung mga Chinoy dito, saan ba kayo ayoko yung ganon. Because to begin with, hindi racial ang kategory ng pagiging Pilipino. At nakita natin dun sa Gumburza, ito yung mga tao na actually, sa sobrang feeling na talagang kasama sila sa Spanish civilization, hindi nila ma-accept na bakit hindi sila tinatanggap. So, yun, dun nagkaroon ng galit. Kasi, yung isa nga sa kanila, di ba, yung mentor nila, Padre Borgus was almost a pure Espanyol, di ba, but born in the Philippines. So, I think, healthy yung movie na yan, helpful yung movie na yan, dahil pinapakita na hindi racial category ang pagiging Pilipino. Hindi yan sa kulay ng, it's really about where you're born, where you're attached to, yung loyalties mo, yung mga ganitong bagay. Pangalawa, on the issue of propaganda, I completely understand saan galing yung sinasabi ni Pepe in terms of, ayoko yung mga Marites, yung mga made in Marites, yung mga ganyan-ganyan. I understand that. At the same time, ang akin lang, so yun yung challenge namin as a journalist, putting aside that being academic, no? Which is, pag may dalawang tao nakaupo doon, sabi ng isa, araw ngayon, sabi ng isa, gabi ngayon, hindi trabaho ng isang tunay na journalist na sabi, okay, may dalawa tayong kasama, sabi nito, araw, sabi nito, gabi. Hindi. Ang trabaho mo lumabas at titignan mo, ay gabi pala eh. Ikaw pala eh, nagsisinungaling ka. No? So sometimes, you need to referee a bit. So ano ibig sabihin yan? So in an era of disinformation, distortion, hindi revision ha. Tama yung sinabi ni Ambeto Campo eh. Hindi revisionism ang nakikita natin. Okay lang naman revisionism. Ibig sabihin, may bagong ebidensya. Ay yung pala, hindi pala nangyari yun. That's revisionism. Distortionism ang nakita natin eh. You need to also adjust kasi yung ground is moving. So that's why yung propaganda movement nila Rizal in a way was a corrective dun sa oppressive propaganda at disinformation ng Spanish authorities. Kaya sobrang relatable sa akin yan. So that's why medyo challenging itong issue ng how do you sift through political propaganda. Kaya parati pagtanong sa akin, Prof, bias ka? Yeah, sabi ko, bias ako for facts. Bias ako for sanity. Di ba? Medyo matinong pag-iisip. Di ba? Yung urge ko, nasa tamang, di ba? Nasa tamang channel. Di ba? So, that's where it's a little bit challenging. Pero feeling ko in the case of Gumburza, it was done very well. Siguro, pag medyo lumalapit na sa panahon natin, medyo may mga minefield, doon ko siguro makita na more debates will be created. I think the thing with Gumburza is there's enough distance to create a room for emotional, I don't know, parang hindi ka masyadong attached. Pero sigurado ako, pare, pag tumalon na tayo sa 1972 or 1980, biglang iba ng usapan, di ba? So, especially with what's happening. But I don't want to get you guys into trouble. I'll stop it. I'm just saying, gaano kahirap yung trabaho namin as educators, public thinkers, filmmakers. We don't want propaganda. Hindi kami politically motivated. Wala kaming partisanship. Lahat na-criticize ko. But at the end of the day, my duty din tayo to stand for truth. And when the ground is shifting, you have to make a stand so that truth has a chance. You have to fight for truth.
Actually,
kulang pa ng kape. Next time, dapat may sponsor tayo ng mga kape tayo lahat.
That's why, parang when you think about it, parang pagmamahal sa bayan, it's not just, tama kayo, it's not racial. It's not, yeah. It's a set of principles. Ano ang nagpapapilipino sa pagpapilipino?
Exactly.
Siguro, we can summarize it with how the Gumburza encapsulated their legacy. It's more of katotohanan, justisya, pagkakapantay-pantay. These are the principles that unite us na mamuhay ng marangal, mamuhay na tahimik at marangal, na may kaya na tayo iangat ang ating mga sarili sa sarili natin kalalagayan. And at the same time, no, makita natin ang sarili natin sa kabuang big picture ng kasaysayan. And I bet these people, no, si Mariana Gomez de Los Angeles, yung Bulldozer, they did not see themselves as having monuments, no, years later. But kasi many of our heroes, no, they do not see the tree when they planted the seed. No? Marami sa kanila, may gusto pangarap, pero alam nila na hindi nila makikita yung mga pangarap nila. And that project, no, that national project is still ongoing. And I think all of our fields are working towards that very inclusive, patriotic, no, and humanitarian future. Hindi talagang makatao, no, na yun ang magiging Pilipino.
Yeah.
That's beyond the color of the skin, no, that's beyond the color of our political colors, our political ideologies. At the end of the day, diba? That's what I realized when I walked out of the cinema.
Right.
Wow, no, these people, no, their stories still resonate hundreds of years later because they are human, but they fought the good fight. And one of the things that still, no, helps me wake me up every morning is sa NHCP, National Historical Commission of the Philippines. Despite the burden of work that we have, is just this mission to really push, no, to make history relevant to our people. And these films, no, so your books and your blogs, I know they are very helpful in casting, no, our realities in a new light. And sana, no, magkaroon ng isang Pilipino na he has a fighting chance to grab his own future.
I kind of want to go a little bit on a tangent, pero I promise this point.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, then. Yeah, of course.
When we were working with Bobosa, I had the opportunity to attend a workshop in Italy. So I was going back.
Yeah.
And in one of my trips to Italy, we were in a city called Torino.
Yeah.
And our friend was touring me around Torino, and she pointed to a statue, and she said, "This is my favorite Italian politician, Camillo Cavour." And I said, "Wow, favorite politician? I wonder why." But she said, you know, Camillo Cavour came at the time when Italy was divided. Parts of Italy were under the Austrians. And Camillo Cavour set up the first Italian republic, and Italy was founded in Torino. And their first constitution was ratified in Torino. And when they signed the constitution, Camillo Cavour said this quote. He said, "Okay, now we made Italy, now we must make Italians."
Right.
And really changed the way I saw my work. It made me ask myself, how does my work create Filipinos? And it also made me realize, Italy, I always thought that there's such an old country with such a rich culture. I never realized until that trip that the Italian language that we know is a modern creation. The Italian capital that we know now as Rome is also a modern creation. The different hallmarks, for example. I'll go to another language. Another country. Do you guys know that pad thai, the noodle dish from Thailand, is also a modern creation? It was invented there just a few decades ago when they had a drive, it was I think a law to create national dishes. So everybody is creating their national identities. And I had to ask myself, how is my work helping create the Filipino national identity? At the time, we had an edit of Boboza, where it was just so sad. After the priests are killed, that's it. That's it. Kasi tapos na yung kwento. And I went back to that and I said, teka, how is this creating Filipinos? What kind of messages it's sending? What kind of emotion is it imparting? As a viewer, that kind of ending na ako tapos na lang napatay ng tagupare, it's giving me hopeless feeling. Wala akong makakapitan. There's nothing else I can do for this country. So after that trip, we decided to rework the ending of Composer.
Right.
We said, what if the death is not a loss, a net loss? What if it is actually a happy or could be a happy ending? And so that's when we decided, okay, we really need that ending where we have Hussein Salami. And of course, we had shot that already, but the effect of the execution was just so heavy that hindi lumabas yung hope sa last. For those who haven't seen it, I'm so sorry for spoiling the film. But we totally worked so much on the ending to give back that hope and to tell people that even in the darkest times, even if some of us may lose our life, we can't find hope and we can't find strength in that. So there was another question. Yung bandila at the end of the film. We keep it in, and a part of me was saying, it could be a little bit corny, it could be a little bit cheesy. I was considering taking it out. But after that question, how does my work help make Filipinos? It was very clear to me. No, that's the point of the film. That's from Philippines across, not even the Philippines, from peoples that were not united at the beginning. That we didn't even call ourselves Filipino. When one of the characters was asked, "Ko ba ay Filipino?" He said, "Ano yun? Tagalog ako." From that disunited state to at the end of the film being so united under one flag. That's the point of the film, and that's how we create Filipinos. That question totally changed my perspective. So it would be nice for all of us in our everyday to ask, how does our work help create Filipinos? And it's, I think, a good shining or guiding light for all of us.
Right. Yeah. Ay. See, maganda yung suggestion ko, magsama kami, di ba? Just to say, ako yung nag-Karen. Di, isama nyo kami, doon na kami sa sofa, di ba? I mean, I love this discussion because we had this also on my podcast before he won the award, so I'm sure I can take credit for it. I'm kidding. There's two dimensions to that, no? Meron akong kaibigan na nagsulat ng libro, si Bill Hayton from BBC before, The Invention of China. Napansin ang tawag sa mga Chinese ay Sangli, which is a kind of a transliteration of the Chinese, actually it's not, Southern Chinese term for merchant. So actually, people like Benedict Anderson, who I think is one of the most respected political scientists and historians out there, ang argument is that actually there was no such thing as China as we understand it until it was constructed in the early 20th century. In fact, yung 9-dash line ng China, which was originally 11-dash line, that was done by Chinese nationalist cartographers to create a false sense of grandeur nung nagwatak-watak na ang China at nag-take over yung warlords. So if a civilization supposedly as old as China was actually reinvented or recently invented, sabi niya nga, hindi ko nilagay yung construction, baka papunta sa engineering section sa library. So he used the word invention of China. So if today's China is very much a product of modern nationalism, it's similar also in a lot of countries. So in short, ang sinasabi ko is, may tendency tayo na parati akalin natin, pitsugin tayong bansa, wala tayong kasaysayan, ito mga grand civilization. No, I can talk about Italy, China, Iran, even Greece. Modern Greece is not the Greece we read in the books. This is a Greece that revolted against Ottoman Empire and had to redefine its own modern nationalism. Probably Lord Byron may mas role sa modern Greek nationalism kaysa Socrates or Plato. Do you get what I'm saying? So, first of all, we have to get rid of this kind of, let's say, parang young nation, small country insecurity. Because no, practically all countries are modern invention. But more importantly, tama yung sinasabi ni Pepe. In fact, our being a new nation means wala tayong baggages. Because isa sa napansin ko sa mga ibang bansa, whether it's the invasion of Ukraine, whether it could be war in Taiwan, is how yung historical baggages or yung nangyayari sa gitnang silangan actually poisons the ability of nations to constructively project themselves. So, ipit ngayon ng China kasi yung diskurso nila dapat kasamang Taiwan. Ipit ngayon ng Russia kasi diskurso nila ay sa amin ng Ukraine, sa amin ng wala tayong ganun eh. So actually, that's our blessing na wala tayong ganitong imperial nostalgia, baggage, insecurity, grievance. Wala tayong ganun eh. We are a fresh, young nation. And ang laki ng opportunity natin, lahat tayo bilang isang komunidad, hindi lang historiador, hindi lang mga filmmakers, Now, we not only invent but innovate the Philippines into a prosperous, stable, and an ideal nation whereby there's no racism, whereby there's no imperialism, whereas all of those yung mga negative connotations na unfortunately lumabas dun sa mga, I mean, Italy, you know, they had fascism at some point. Right? They went through some dark, you know, alleys before they arrive at somehow okay Italy today. Right? I mean, I don't want to get into conversation, right? We'll get into trouble. But you know what I'm saying? Actually, I see it as an opportunity na medyo bata-bata tayong bayan. I see it as an opportunity yung founding fathers natin ay hindi, I don't know, Sanju or Confucius, but si Rizal na sobrang relatable sa atin. Katulad ng sinabi ng isang kaibigan natin, if Rizal were alive today, he would have been a vlogger. That's how relatable he is. Makulit, dynamic, di ba? Palabiro, di ba? Si Ninoy, Bang was telling us yesterday, medyo sinusutil niya yung mga kamay. So, hindi ba parang maganda yung founding fathers natin at icons natin, sobrang relatable sa atin. So, it makes it actually easier for us to push the Philippines in the direction of an inclusive, prosperous nation na mapapamahal tayong lahat. At yung mga foreigners, kaya mga foreigners, afam, love na lang Pilipinas eh. Walang baggage, walang yabang, walang grievances that they see in other Asian countries.
You know, sobrang optimistic ng ganun outlook. And in fact, talagang, when you look at our history, there's so much to do. And tama yung perspective kasi that some countries are really trapped in these narrow-minded concepts of the past.
Right.
But we can use our history as basically bridges,
Exactly.
As to create a future, a path of our own, as a country. Siguro last na to,
May 10 minutes pa yata. Yeah, may 10 minutes pa. Wow, pinapolish na tayo.
So we have like 5 minutes. Okay, so siguro gusto dapat kasi tackled on film, yung Gumbursa, and then Filipino nationalism, identity, our neighbors, West Philippine Sea. Siguro since the topic right now, the present topic right now is the West Philippine Sea, and how with the challenges of the tug of war in the region, specifically yung China, for example, is insisting on its historic claims, while we are also insisting that we are pushing for the international law, our win in the 2016 Arbitral Tribunal. How does yung pagiging Pilipino natin, how does that figure, in this fight of our generation? Kasi, there are many warmongers out there, For example, siguro, I could similarly liken that to the generation of the Gumbursa. Kasi, at the time, some of the Spanish friars were basically allergic of liberal ideas, that they see that, sa Mexico, panahon ng revolusyon nila sa Mexico, mga secular Christian na namulo sa kanilang revolusyon. Baka mamaya sila din, And similar to today, there are many people right now who, despite the fact that we have many examples in our history, na lumawan tayo despite knowing that we will be defeated. Halimbawa sa Battle of Bataan, we knew in 1942 that we would be defeated in that war, and yet our Filipino soldiers, together with Americans, were fighting against this encroaching Japanese imperial invasion. And despite all of that examples, we have Filipinos among us who say na, tayo na parang hindi atin yan. So, na lang tayo kasi parang walang gulo, But we know what's right. How does our being Filipino figure in all of that discussion? Ako, I'm interested to put the line of a filming
first,
public interaction.
You want, I'll get the ball, and then you end on the, you end on the nicer politically. Ganito na lang. Kanina urge ako ng urge, but I'll tell you what, my favorite line from our Senate is yung sinabi ni Senator, "Tama ba tayo?" Diba? Meron line si Cynthia Villar nung pinag-usapan yung agricultural sector sa Vietnam, Malaysia. Bakit sila? Napakagaling! Bakit tayo ganyan? Bababa tayo! Diba? Parang, sige, maganda yan. Gusto ko sana may podcast na bababa tayo! Diba? And ang point niya actually was very good. You know, we may have disagreement with her, but I think she had a good point na parang, wala naman kulang sa atin eh. Why can't we do what Thailand, Vietnam, and other countries doing? Whether it's food diplomacy, diba? Whether it's, you know. So, going back to the issue of West Philippine Sea, minsan may mga narinig akong argumento na parang ganun ang sagot ko. Bakit ba? Diba? Parang, hindi tayo lumaban, ano na, diplomacy na lang tayo. So, sabi ko, of course diplomacy tayo, but diplomacy under what terms? Kasi parang, pag sinabi mo diplomacy tayo, is like saying, basa ang tubig. Malamang basa ang tubig, pero ang tanong, how are you gonna do it? You know, diplomacy. So kung wala kang self-respect, wala kang coherence as a nation, wala kang sense of past. And I had some Chinoy friends, I disagreed with them. I said, China is the oldest civilization now. Sabi ko, alam ko saan papunta itong conversation. I said, first of all, no, you're not the oldest. I've been to all major civilizations. I've been to the pyramids, the Persepolis, the Colosseum. Actually, the Great Wall of China and all are pretty bata-bata pa. So, I think madali tayo mapa-intimidate ng iba na, wala kayo dyan, maliit lang kayong bansa, pumayag na lang kayo. We have to push back against that. Di tayo pichugin. Vietnam has even fewer people than us. Thailand has a smaller population than us. Malaysia is only what? 30, 40 million people? We are 120 million people. We are mid-sized countries. We are the 13th largest country by population. We are top 30 economy in the world. Ang Pilipinas ay hindi na small-sized country. We're a middle-sized country, and accordingly, we have to project that kind of confidence and strength. So dapat yung diskurso natin sa West Philippine Sea ay hindi yung parang kawawa tayo, tapos mahigante itong kalaban. No, para tayo ng David. Okay, may laban. Hindi tayo kasang laki nung kalaban, di ba? Goliath. But may laban tayo. We can fight. You know, we can fight because we got the basic things. So I think that ang diskurso sa West Philippine Sea ay hindi dapat diskursong kawawa tayo. Dapat diskurso na palaban tayo at may laban tayo. That's why we have to push back very strongly against defeatist propaganda na sa tingin ko ay hindi organic. Just to be honest. I look at the statement ng isang embahada dito, biglang statement ng isang blogger dito. Wow, parang copy-paste, di ba? Hindi man lang pinaghirapan, di ba? Low budget. Yung mga cheap fake na ginagawa nila para sirain yung presidente natin. Yeah, so obviously something is going on. This is a malign foreign influence. This is disinformation backed by a foreign power, right? We have to fight against that. We can disagree on what is the best tactic to fight for West Philippine Sea. Okay lang yan, academics tayo. But I completely disagree with the person na Pilipino pero chooses to argue the case of China against his own people, against sa ating mangingista, against sa ating Philippine Coast Guard, against sa ating mga naval official na nawala ng, na-injure. I mean, that is anti-Filipino. Wala akong pake anong kulay mo, wala doon yung pagka-Pilipino eh. Nasaan ang loyalty mo? And the good thing about the Philippines is, ang claims natin sa West Philippine Sea ay base sa international law. Nanalo na tayo. Obviously, bully yung kabila, superpower, hindi pa rin sumusunod. But that doesn't mean you give it up. That means it's a continuous fight. So going back to what Pepe was doing, he's showing us that the struggle for the Philippines goes back all the way to 1860s and 70s. I would argue 1820s actually. So tuloy-tuloy lang yan eh. Marathon yan, hindi ito sprint. Walang solusyon ng West Philippine Sea bukas or next week or next administration. As Justice Carpio said it's a generational challenge. But let it be a challenge to make us better Filipinos and a self-respecting country. Yung dignidad natin, yung katingian natin, yun ang dapat i-emphasize natin. So on that note, I'll leave it to Pepe to bring down the temperature kasi medyo uminit-init ng discussion natin. Muntik na akong gumanon. Salamat. Thank you.
I totally agree. I think kailangan natin pag-isipan yung inferiority complex sa nation. There's a term of American exceptionalism where they think they're the great word, they think and they say that
we have the opposite.
We have the opposite. I think Filipino exceptionalism is we tend to think we have the worst.
Yeah.
That's simply, I think, not true.
Right.
There was a scene in Go Bursa na usapan, it's a scene that I've always been asked about, which is the scene where Father Gomez says, or it's Britannia, who first says, Malas ang Pilipinas. And then that same thought is echoed by Burgos, he says, malas ang Pilipinas. Ang dami nangyari kamalasan kasi sabay ka lang ng bulsa. And I always ask, I think personally, na malas ang Pilipinas. And I think many of us share that same feeling. If you look at our history, there's so many bad things or things that have gone wrong. So many factors that have gone wrong as well. But I think it's our inferiority complex that tells us that ang kamalasan natin ay deeply ingrained.
Right.
And it's something that we cannot change. But that is not true. I think kamalasan ang mga hindi magandang nangyari sa kahit anong bansa, sa kahit anong kultura, sa kahit sino tao may nangyari masama, may nangyari hindi maganda. Pero, ang nasa sa atin is how we deal with these negative events, negative occurrences. And in Kumbursa, this is not my personal answer. There was a viewer who shared this talk with me. Kaya, with people na lang po. In Kumbursa, we've seen 3 different kinds of dealing with kamalasan and dealing with wrong or
challenges.
Events. First, we have Zamora. Na completely na napagkamala na talaga siya, wrong place, wrong time. Malas talaga yung nangyari sa kanya. But yung naging response niya was completely to loss of sanity. Completely loss of sanity.
Nervous breakdown.
Nervous breakdown. According to some historical accounts, he had to be carried up to the ground. The second way of dealing with kamalasan is Mr. Gomez, na tinanggap niya peacefully. He surrendered himself to his faith and to God. The third way of dealing with kamalasan that Burgos showed was to scream at the top of his lungs
Defiance.
and protest what was happening to him. Do not accept it. Actually, I want to talk about this just a little bit for a few minutes. There is an historical account of Plascion, a French historian who had never been to the Philippines, but he has the most vivid account of the execution. And he said in his account that when Burgos was on stage before the Garote, he said his last words, wala kaming kasalanan, bakit kami kailangan matay na ganito, wala bang hustisya sa mundo. And in Plascion's account, he said, Burgos was so beautiful, kawawa, weeping, and kami, when we were writing the film, working on the film, hindi namin tinanggap ang characterization na yun. We didn't want to show Burgos like that. Because number one, we said, teka, nasa Garote ka na, you're in front of thousands of people, state is about to execute you, and you say, innocent kami, we're innocent. Isn't that the most
Defiant.
Yeah,
exactly.
You could say in the face of death, to proclaim your innocence and state your truth. So he said, hindi kawawa. Hindi kawawa si Burgos. He was protesting for his innocence. And that is something that is the most dignified thing that you could do. So we decided in the film to present him as a dignified, defiant
Yeah.
death. And that's the message we wanted to give us. And that, personally, is, I think, how we should all deal with injustice and with kamalasan. Of course, nasa sa atin yan. You can deal with it anyway. But I think in the 3 priests, Gomez, Burgos, and Zamora, we showed 3 different options for us. And I hope we choose to proclaim the truth when we are faced with these different trials in life.
Tumaas yung balahiban. I think I could see your passion. That was great. That was great. I really appreciate it, man. That was good. That was good. Ganda nun. Perfect yung defeatism versus serenity versus defiance. I'll choose defiance. Yeah. Ganda.
Siguro, sana marami tayo matutunan na
Nick Joaquin had a good framing of that. I think Nick Joaquin's framing was the best. Na defiant siya, he was not willing to accept it, and that made the impact even more. Everyone just fell down like, fuck this system, parang ganun yung nangyari. Righteous anger.
History will always be there, to be a source of inspiration, to give promise of our present. So siguro,
the shark.
opportunity
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
audience to ask
First time doing it, so I don't know where I have to ask. Are you going there? Yeah, please give me ideas. Friends style. Yeah, please. I want to write something about that. Yeah. Okay, such excited. I haven't been there. I've heard so many. I was just in Ibiza last month, and someone was telling me, he's like, but why do you come all the way here? You have great stuff back home. I said, oh, man. Because I went to The Hague. Please, yeah, I'll do vlogs. No shoot. Please send me the list on YouTube. Sorry.
Ako si Atty. Joseph Salan. I'm in the Justice Prison Ministry. Of course, JustCom, Philippine Historical Association, and Advocates for Heritage Preservation. Pero very few people know this. Ang dami nang bibili. Ako ay 5th generation na Iponera. Pang-dalawang generasyon na anak ng veterano ng World War II.
Right.
And guess what? Isa ang lolo ko, si Father Pedro Dandan, si Ginuli, kasama ng Bursa. At siya ang umuwi. Just a short reaction. Dinawin sa Katipunan.
Right.
Dinatay si Father Dandan, in-expel siya sa Guam, binalik siya sa Pilipinas, nagservisyo siya sa Manila Cathedral, nang tinayo ang Katipunan. Siya ang pari at general ng Katipunan na lumaban kasama ang Pasyanuisa. Okay? So that's the kwento, Dandan Poblete. For the West Philippine Sea, by the way, si Cardinal Tagle, ang lolo niya, si Jose Tagle, was also a Katipunan. So West Philippine Sea, pinsan ko, si Vice Admiral Rolando Visor Uzanan Jr. Siya ang Deputy Commandant for Operations ng PCG. Ako ay Pintos International Law. So nakita natin ang pagtawid ng mga generasyon. And finally, Atty. Leo Guerra, bago Bursa, Director. Atty. Leo Guerra, of Commerce alumna ng Ateneo, ay siya ang 5th generation ko ng fathers nito sa mga pagkakabarkada ko, ang mga ko ng Bursa, ng Katipunan, ng very little minutes.
Right.
So my question for the two of you is, now that we are utilizing the power of film, songnet, dito, ano naman ang magiging kasabay para sa revision or possible amendment na masasuggest mo sa ating school curriculum?
Right.
Kasi napaka-critical, di ba?
Right.
Kaya usapan natin revision ng mga textbook para mas mga books sa panahon natin, high-tech tayo. Pero, dun sa pagiging high-tech na yun, napuwasan yung tungkol sa kasaysayan, napuwasan yung values, na kanina natin part ng values. So, yun ang question ko.
You want to go first? Just general con.
Wala po akong expertise or sa educational curriculum. But on a personal as a thinker, I would like to see, hopefully, sa arts education po. Alam ko magkano kung kulang sa ating curriculum, but I hope we get arts education there. Because when we give students the power to create, it also empowers them to participate more in different subjects.
Historical commission, diba? How should I put it? Kaya lang, obviously pinanak ako sa Baguio, Ilocano kami. I was almost born in Marcos Highway. Sabi ng nanay ko, lumalabas na ako bago dumating sa hospital. So, I had a certain ecosystem of information, let's just put it that way, bago ako nag-UP. So actually, it was not until I went to UP na medyo nagkaroon ako ng medyo mas malawak na pag-intindi sa mga ibang portion ng aspeto ng ating kasaysayan. Obviously now, I have my own mind, I think for myself and mga others. But my point is, ang laki ng agwat ng education ko na basic, yung ecosystem ko, at yung cutting edge historical education na nakuha ko sa UP, which really, namulat ako doon, di ba? So, doon ko nakita may gaps talaga tayo eh. Because not everyone will end up in UP, right? As simple as that, di ba? So, ang napansin kong isa is, we really have to go back to the basics. So, I completely agree dun sa aking kaibigan na historiador, si Leloy Claudio, na sabi niya, Richard, ang problema kasi sa atin is, you know, you write for New York Times, for Foreign Affairs, write these great books, pero ang laban talaga dun sa baba, sa basic education. So you have to engage that more. So actually, yun yung sa tingin ko kakulangan ko eh. The reason I started podcasting is vlogging is I realized may limitasyon yung mainstream presence ko. So I started that. But I believe the next step should be engaging. So siguro text ko mamaya si Secretary Angara as he's settling down into the Department of Education. And I've heard from some very good friends, including some fellow Ilocanos who said that he's trying to put together a very good team. So mukhang medyo may mga magagandang direction tayo dyan. Now, whether magkaroon tayo ng isa pang kaibigan na libro na mas maganda or gaano kalaki yung budget or rebuttal tayo dyan, di ba? Hindi ko na alam yan, pero alam ko medyo may papunta tayo. So siguro magsulat din kami ng mga cartoons. May pang isang kaibigan din. Salamat, salamat.
Actually, no, yung education crisis kasi natin, no, there are many ways to really, alleviate yung ating education crisis. And one form is this, History X.
Oh my God. Nervous breakdown. She almost had a breakdown.
No, for example, blog, no? So we go to where the people are. No, talagang i-engage natin sila.
Rebuttal, tapos ano po ulit tanong nyo?
And yun ay
oh my God. Ang ganda nito.
So any more questions?
I like that, this song.
Wait, once in a lifetime.
Or violent reaction.
Anyone?
Bababa tayo.
Sabihin yung pangalan nyo, just your question would be, Sir, any question to our...
Comment lang, comment lang.
Wala pa. So,
baka may natamaan sa mga sinasabi.
Yung aming mga boss no, sa any questions?
Alright. Baka you wanna correct me or violent reactions to my mga balaura kong comments. Baka yung mga Senate staffs dyan. May Marites.
Ayun, so siguro,
yeah, on that note, good note. Thank you. Pepe, that was great, brother. Continue this, yeah.
Now, before you go, we have a token of appreciation to the both of you. Ayan. Ihati ko lang ating mga kaibigan po mula sa NSC. Ayan. So, ang matanong po nila ay kasaysayan panlipunan ng Maynila, a book written by Professor Luisa P. Cabagay, our expert historian, so women's history. And of course, a sense of nation hold the birthright of Rizal, Bonifacio, and Mabini, the generations that benefited from the Gumburza. So, gandang wrap-up nito, and I hope you guys would appreciate our small gift. Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat po, maraming salamat.
Wala na sa
Ganda. Pwede pa picture din kami dyan? Ay, sir. Parang vlogger ka rin, ha? Thank you. That was good. See, ganda na suggestion ko. Kaysa lecture each of us. Pangit yun. Ang ganda. I'll see you around, brother. I'll wait for your recommendation, ha? And then let's brainstorm.
How long do you have?
How long what?
How long are you going to check out for?
Until Tuesday. Okay na yan. Yeah, kasi I have a talk sa UP Law eh. Yes po, of course po.
Thank you very much.
Of course po. Di ko naman kayo pinahamak masyado.
Maraming salamat.
Salamat, of course po. Thank you so much po.
Once again, let's give them a round of applause.
Pasend na lang yung picture. Sabi niya, nag-shopping lang ako sa Gateway. Ano? May...
So much.
Oh, man. Oh, naglaba ako ng paleta. Salamat po. Thank you so much.
Stay tuned tomorrow for Mr.
Selfie tayo, bro.
Where Mr. Amanda Garibay seeks
Pepe. Selfie tayo.
And Mr. Dexter Santos discusses the picture
Yeah.
in theater.
Hi. I think I should be on this side. Yan. That's it, mga millennial. Thank you.
Up next, learn how our ancestors write through a baybaying lecture by the Press.
Oh yes, kamusta? How